Hi, this is Alex with Seller Mongolite. So, the part we discussed what does it take to create a successful shipment with Amazon when you use their provided tools, and this is what we um, came up with to make it a much easier process. So there's multiple ways to add the items to your shipment. One of them is to go to your inventory page and just basically select, however many you want. And keep going. Basically, it'll tell you all this right here. So then you add them to your FBA shipment, call it anything you want. So there's also an auto-fix feature that fixes two errors. One is if the status of the item has changed and it now requires label, it will recreate the item. And the other one is going to be if it's missing the dimensions, it's going to update the dimensions, but it's just not going to do it with the right dimensions. It's just it's going to let you create the shipment, and then it'll update dimensions on the fly whenever you are to scan those items. So you go next. It's going to pick up all the required prep instruction. So in this case, there is really no prep guidance other than all these items require prep labels. So go next. And it basically creates the shipment plan. You hit next a couple times. You're not going to do that. And then your shipment is basically done. So the other way to do this is you can just copy paste from whatever spreadsheet you have. Let's say any kind of SKUs that you have. So you would type in ABC 1, 2, 3, 24, 6, and so on. If you have them in your clipboard, you can just Control V it here like this. You don't have to fill out the case quantities. It'll assume the case quantities is 1. Now you don't even have to use the case quantities if you don't want to. This is fine too. If you want Amazon to do your prepping, that's where you choose it. This is where you choose who is doing your labeling. We recommend doing the labeling in-house because Amazon is known to create a fair amount of messes with this stuff. So anyway, so the other way, if you created your plan through Seller Central, we can just pick it up from here. So if you go to load work shipment from Amazon, it's going to open all of your shipments right here, and you can just go ahead and choose the ones that you wanna work with. So I already loaded the shipment that we created from Seller Central. So this is where you would find it. So you can combine as many shipments as you want, obviously, but we usually recommend doing it per plan. So this plan has 5 shipments. Some other plans have more or less shipments. This shows if the shipment has been completed and Amazon status if you updated the difference in the shipment. So let's open one of the shipments, and this is the main screen that most of the people see when they go and use the software. So it's pretty simple. This is all of your items on all of the shipments that you have. If you have more than this many, then you would just would be able to scroll it down. This part is basically your boxes. You can see what's in each box. Delete box. Let's say this one is not really a box, so you delete it. You can put the dimensions here for the box. So let's say 24, 12, 12, 15. So this is one of the places where you can do that. You can also put the dimensions for the box when you scan the item. So in case, let's say you want to scan this item, so you can do 12, 12, 12, 15, and say that you're scanning 12 items. So this is where it would record. But before we get to it, so as you see, you can see the image. You can go to the listing itself. You can, if it's oversized, it will show you right here. The other thing that you can do is you can specify your own prep requirements. So this is what Amazon specified, but you can go ahead and say, well, this item also needs polybagging and boxing and bubble wrapping for whatever reason. So, and it'll remember it, and the next time you are to process this item, you know what the correct prep is, or your warehouse employees will know what needs to be done to the item. So you can also specify that in the notes. So it can be an important note, something about, how this item needs to be done. We usually write, it's kind of like a handbook for each item. Hey, do this with this item, or don't do this with this item. You can make it important, and every time you scan this item, this message will show up. So the other thing that you can do here is obviously see how many units go to each shipment. Some settings here, and before you start scanning, you have to have your printing app set up. Printing app is something to allow you to print labels on the fly. Each item here will print at least 3 labels. Well, actually, 2 labels, at least 2 labels. If it needs labeling, it'll print 3. Like basically 3 kinds of labels. If it doesn't need labeling, it will print 2 labels. And the way that you scan is obviously you have different ways to locate your items. You can we use the manufacturer code as a part of SKU here. You don't have to do that. You can search by the description. If not, you can also search by UPC. So in case and this is very, very important, because as you see, this X means the label status is undetermined on this item. Well, and this one is obviously going to be labeled. However, let's say if you were to do this item, right, it doesn't say that the labeling is required. However, a lot of the times the UPC that Amazon has for the item does not match to the listing. It's pretty common, and even if it happens in like 5% of your merchandise, it's 5% loss, because Amazon is not going to allocate it to the right ASIN. So they're just going to lose it, write it off, and destroy it, or what else. So you want to make sure that your label status is always correct. So what you do here is you go to you just scan the item. So if the item needs to be scanned, you go right here, and it picks up the item. As you see, the label status changes right away. That means that the next time you don't even have to scan the item. You know that this item is going to Amazon as is, that you don't need to do anything else. So in this case, it will only print 2 labels. One with the prep instructions, which are none. And the other one is going to be when you close the box, going to be a QR label when you close the box. So, but before we start scanning again, we need to connect the printers. The printer is connected by downloading the app. It is offered to be downloaded on the point of registration. You can also download it. There's always a link right here for the print app. So all you need to do is to download it and configure it. So I need to figure out where it is right here. So there's very few things that you need to configure at this print app. First of all, you need to use the email that you registered with to log in. So then you log in, and so what you do is you just basically choose, what kind of label that is. The regular label is just a product label, and I set it all up to the PDF. Then you do QR label is the box label that we print on the fly, meaning that the second you close the box, we'll print that label. You don't have to wait until everything is done, and that allows you to save a lot of time. You don't have to go back to the box. a lot of the time you don't combine items in the same box, or if you do, it's kind of a simple process. So so this is QR label is 4 by 6. Prep label is the same as a regular label. We usually print them on dymos. Warning kit label is a bigger label. It has the warning for polybagging, and we usually use it for kits as well. And the transport QR label is the label that you need to use for your UPS labels if you are to use UPS. So there are a couple other things so once you're here, all you need to do is click connect, and as you see, you're going to have a printer connected right here. So if you have multiple printers, you would need to click here and choose which printer do you want to print on. We support as many printers as you want on as many machines as you want. You just need to make sure that they print to the right place. So and you cannot have different kind of labels on different machines, but you can have different sets of labels for different machines. So anyway, going back to this. So now we configured the printer, so we can start scanning. So let's say this box. Let's just assume that this box has 24 items, and there's couple ways you can do that. There are key hotkeys that we use that you can close the box right away, or you can keep it open. So if your box is open, it'll be green right here. So you can scan another item in this box. So this is and it's just gonna I'm just gonna show you the labels that it's gonna do. So in this case, it's gonna do 2 labels because the box is still open. Actually, 1 label because it doesn't really need labels, right? So there's a prep label that we put on top of the box, so we know it's our internal label just to keep track of things. And the kind of label it is, it basically tells you if you need to do any prep instructions. Like this one will just say consult help documents. It will tell you the number of the box, and it will tell you the shipment ID. So the shipment ID, we take the last 3 letters and the box number right here. So this is the only thing that it's going to do for you. And we found it's very useful to use this kind of things, because when you have multiple instructions, this is how people on the line know what to do with each box and what needs to be done to each box. So this is pretty simple here. So if you have another item, it's got to be from the same. It's from the same shipment. So as you see, this is shipment LRH. So in case you have another item that you want to put in the same box, let's say this item, you can add, let's say 12, and then close the box. So let's say this is all you're going to have in that box, right? So as you see, so let's print the labels. Again, they're printing to PDF, so everybody can see what kind of labels they are. So number 2 and number 3. So it printed 3 labels this time. For a reason, first of all, we closed the box, so the box is already closed, right? So and here's the labels. So box number 1 would have the label number 1 is the same prep label as we had. I know it's a repeat, but it's still helpful. It'll print as many product labels as you need. Like you needed 12, it will print 12 labels. And box number 3, print this QR label that will show you all your items that you have in that box. It'll encode it on the fly. So this is basically done. You don't have to do anything anymore. You don't have to touch this box anymore, unless you ship UPS. But then again, if you ship UPS, you can update the box sizes right here. Or when you close the box, you can close the box and put the box sizes right here, right? So it will take it from anywhere, really. So we don't really ship a lot of UPS anymore, but for people that do do a lot of UPS shipping, this is very, very handful. Uh, so the other thing is, I guess, a very important thing is, since Amazon changed the policies about 6 months ago, that they don't want you to delete shipments. They basically want you to follow the plan the way that they designed it. They give you a little leeway, like you can subtract some of the items or increase some of the items, but it's within a very certain parameters. You cannot do it with more than actually it's 10 items, but officially it's 6 items or 5% of the number of SKUs that you're going to ship. So, and a lot of the times we don't have the right case quantities, and especially if you're doing a lot of SKUs, you don't know what the case quantity is. The case quantity can be changed, and there's a lot of issues with this, right? So, what we did is we allow people to overscan into one shipment and underscan into another shipment. So the way that it works is just very simple. So let's say you have this one item, 130-43. Well, I don't know what this item is. Yeah, this one. So, and let's suppose that, that we want to do 30 items here. So 30 items to this box, and then they all go to the same box. I'm just going to cancel out because you guys seen the labels, so we don't need to see that again. So, and as you see, this one now shows that we are that we overscanned 6 units, right? And this one shows that we need 6 units less. Instead of 72, now we only need 66 in this next shipment, right? So, but let's suppose that you decided to do 72 here anyway. So we do again 72, and let's actually, this one is not going to let you do this, but let's suppose you scan because we already scanned 12, so we can, the max number of shipments of units that, and by the way, this actually remembers it, so we can only scan 54 units because we already scanned 12, right? So what we need to do is, supposedly we want to do 54 plus 6, right? So supposedly we can do 60, right? So again, we're going to close the shipment, and now we have 72 here, but we still overscan 6 here, and it's okay because sometimes you just have extra merchandise, right? So this is always in all parameters, right? But let's say you decided that those 6 units that you have there, you're going to put them in this shipment. You're going to take them from this shipment. So if you'll scan 42, it'll just have minus 6 units on the shipment. So, and when you're going to go through all of this, when you're going to get done with the shipments altogether, this red button is going to turn green, and you're going to go and first of all, you're going to be able to tell your supplier what is happening. Why are you missing the units here? So, and if there is a difference, you can send them an email. You can say, well, wait a minute, we have, we missed, you shorted us on this many units, and reason, if it was missing or if it was damaged, and sometimes you can just skip it because they send you another item or what else, for whatever reason, you can just skip it, right? So we're going to skip this process, but you can also put your cost here. So your vendor or your supplier will get a really nice email saying, hey, we were short, 6 units on this SKU, 5 units on that SKU. Could you please reimburse us? And it'll show them the full amount. So this is very, very useful. And you can manage your email templates and have the one that says, hey, design it the way you want. Then the next thing is you're going to update your Amazon. So all this difference is basically Amazon. When you created the plan, Amazon expected so many units. and now uh, you basically tell Amazon, wait a minute, um, wait a minute, yeah, I don't know why. So wait a minute, this is this is not what we're sending you. And so for your own reconciliation, it's really good to have it. It can take as many items as you want, really. Like if you're not sending at all these items, you can just take them off the shipment. It will allow you to do that. However, if you send any number of items, sometimes, like if it's if you want to update it by 10, it'll let you do that. If you want to update it by, let's say and any other number, it will not, because it's against Amazon's policies. But as you see, this item that we did right here, right? So we moved it from one shipment to another. We moved it from the shipment 2GH to shipment 4FH. And as you see, we're going to tell Amazon that 6 units are missing in one shipment and 6 units are added to another shipment. You don't have to think about it twice. It's already done. So, and that's basically the most of it. So, you can you'll be able to move items from one shipment to another without really spending a lot of energy figuring out where did the units go, whatever happened. And as you see right now, it shows the difference of 608 units. But most of the times you would only miss 5 or 10 units, and then you would move a few items from one shipment to another. But doing it manually is pretty much impossible, because you not only you need to remember to which unit you added that SKU, to which shipment you added that SKU, you also need to remember to where did you take it from. So it's 2 different adjustments, and manually you're just going to lose it. I mean, we did. It wasn't working well for us. That's why we designed the software at all. So this ability to move units between shipments is a very, very good functionality. It's really going to help you, cut the labor cost, and just be more accurate with your Amazon shipments. So we're not going to update anything right now. And the next thing you're going to do is, as you see, you can we have all 5 shipments here. You can do LTL and get rates. Right now we are limited to only Amazon rates. It will also estimate the rates for Amazon UPS. This is still beta, so you can try it and see if it sometimes it makes sense to ship UPS versus LTL. Found sometimes it's correct, sometimes it's off by a bit. So, and this is your small parcel, and as you see, when you have boxes, which shipment do we have boxes like this box, you can have you can modify it, or you can scan the box number here. That's 1D barcode that we showed you. Is this barcode right here on the top, this one. You can scan that barcode and it will put you in the right place to fill it up, right? So you can fill it up and move on, right? So again, the same thing here, and so you can get the rates here and choose the shipment. So like this one, you see it's missing the sizes, so we're going to do 2027, and you can get estimate from this, right? So it'll tell you, this is hazmat shipment, so it's not letting us do that. But if it wasn't hazmat, it would. Let's see if this one will work. If it wasn't hazmat, it'll tell you that this particular box is $7.97. So then you would just print labels from here and slap them on your one box and send it out, right? So if it was LTL, again, it's a little more complex, but I mean, it's the same thing. You're just putting your dimensions here, the weight, the description. The description is just kind of for your own sake, and you get the rates, and that's basically all of it. So the other thing that is important here, or the other thing that we're working on, it's still in beta, but there is a way. So we basically allow you to connect the scanners here, uh, the and count employees' time. So each time your employee works on the box is measured, and the prep is recorded as well, and then you get this fantastic report. And your scanners here, people that scan the merchandise, they see the performance of each you basically. And when that happens, things things turn amazing, because you realize that you're losing at least 50% of productivity, because you're not really watching what's happening. And it could be for different reasons. People get distracted, or they don't know how to prep things right, or what else. So this is very, very important functionality that we're going to have by release. For sure, we are already beta testing it on our own. It's not part of this light version yet, but yeah, it's coming up, and yes, you will know which one of your workers works better. That can be used for additional motivation. That can be used for any other reasons. So there's a couple other things you can do here. You can merge the boxes. So let's say if you have boxes from two different shipments, like let's say this one and this one. I think this is how you do that, merge boxes. This one, I think you got to select it first. So, and then merge them. And then all of a sudden you have one box with all the items in it, right? So this is a pretty good functionality too. What else you can do here? You can reprint labels from a bunch of different places. You can, if your items need expiration dates, you'll get the message which will ask you about expiration dates. You can escape out of it. It doesn't really take that much time. Then usually have it depends, I guess. We look at the category, because you never know what Amazon really requires you to do. We ask for the expiration for three categories: health and beauty, I guess health and something else, and beauty and groceries. So those three categories, those categories have have basically requirement for expiration, and we try to do it quick. You can set up the expiration year there. This is where you manage your vendors in case you want to use functionality on reporting to your vendors the missing merchandise, or reporting to yourself. I mean, it's always good to have it. You can just set up one vendor and email to yourself, hey, this is the shipment, we missed this, this, and this. You don't even have to use the cost there, obviously. So it's up to you how you want to use that functionality. So this is basically a light version of Seller Mogul. It encounters about 7 to 10% of what we do, but this is the piece of software that we use the most. We use it, all of our warehouses employees use it. It takes about half an hour to an hour to train someone to use this software, and it's pretty straightforward. It can be installed on multiple computers. We not going to charge per computer or per user. It can be used on as many users as desirable. The only limitation there per computer is if you are to use the scanner functionality, we don't recommend more than 8 scanners on per computer. So you want to do less than 8 scanners. And when I say scanners, I mean wireless scanners. So that's basically that. Now, this software alone, I think, is saving our company over $200,000 a year. I mean, we are a large company, but it really, truly optimizes our operations. Because most of the times, if you're an Amazon seller, your job, 30% of your job is, listing control for whatever reason, or price control if you wholesale, But 70% of your job is really this. You have to get your items to Amazon fast, without mistakes, and you want to make sure that you don't lose money in the process. So this software really addresses all those issues. Again, the reason why it is light is because, well, there's a full version of Seller Mogul that has a lot more functionality. We decided to launch this part separately, just so we can start gathering recognition in the industry. And I hope this is well received. I hope this is liked. This software was built over time in the last 4 years. Every single time we made it better, right? So I mean, this part we probably didn't work for the whole 4 years for, but we always trying to improve it. We always trying to make it better. Like there is one functionality that we just came up with that is pretty cool. If you have like multiple boxes, like let's say if this is all boxes of 12, let's say, right? And before this we would do 12, close the box 12, close the box 12, close the box. Now we can do 12 and just use this hotkey right here, and it's going to tell you how many boxes can you print. And you say, okay, well, I have 10 boxes here in front of me, and it's just going to create all those boxes for you. So, and now it's going to ask me for a million times to cancel it out. So yeah, that's going to be a time. So while I'm doing this, it basically saves you a lot of time on scanning. It saves you a lot of time on prepping, because again, if you deem something necessary or not necessary, this is a very good communication tool to your workforce, and it allows you to control the workforce too. It doesn't matter how many people you have, 1, 3, or 5. Just a recent example today, actually. I was going to one of our stations. We have 3 stations right now, so not super big, I guess. So we have 3 stations. Each station has a team leader, and it has 5 people working, or 6 people working each station. And so okay. So as you see, basically it created all those boxes right here with 12 units in each box, and it printed all the labels for all of those things, right? So this is quite a time saver, when you have a lot of repeating boxes. And a lot of the times, this is the case when you have PL product, when you have a product that just sells a lot. So, and you get the whole pallet of it, or half of the pallet. A lot of the times it's a mixed pallet. You have multiple different SKUs. But if you have a lot of repeats, this is really a time saver and money saver and things like this. So anyway, coming back to the today's situation. So I went to one of the stations, and we were doing a different kind of candles. So this is a demo, and this candle line does not allow you to sell their candles anymore. So I'm pretty safe. You guys can try it. Probably not a good idea, but anyway, so a different candle line that requires bubble wrapping. A lot of candles do, but that one also requires boxing, because the candles still break even if you bubble wrap. So this is, by the way, something that you would write here. Hey, use boxing as well, or you can set it up here and say, hey, this item also needs boxing and bubble wrapping. So I go to the screen, and it shows me basically all my 6 workers under that station and their time per box. The current time per box, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, whoa! It takes 15 minutes to do a box with 4 candles in it. And yes, it's a candle that needs bubble wrapping. It's a candle that needs boxing. I mean, there are some things that need to be done, right, before you can send it to Amazon. However, 15 minutes? So we started looking into that, and apparently the employees on that line, they first, they didn't pay attention, and second, they weren't really motivated, and no one showed them how to do them right, well, or fast. So our team leader went. I said, well, let's have a quick meeting. So the team leader had a meeting, showed everybody how to do that right. So from 15 minutes a box, we went down to 3 minutes a box. On average, there are people that can do it now in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So just imagine that the payroll you went from uh, you went from 15 minutes a box to 3 minutes a box. This all because of this software. All of that, I would never be able. Again, if you only have like one or two employees, yeah, you can watch them instead of working on something that on your business. You just you know, do nothing but just watch your employees. This is probably working for some people, but if you're trying to be efficient, which and this is what Amazon wants you to be, they want you to be correct and efficient. Then you have to have the systems in place to make sure that people are actually doing the work, that they're doing it fast and they're doing it correctly. So also when so basically each box gets scanned by one employee. We don't split them, and it goes into report, and also it gives you a personal responsibility. So meaning that if the box is more than 25 inches, if the box is more than 50 pounds, if the box is that, if the box is that, if the items were not labeled correctly, you know who did this. You know who is responsible. You know who needs additional training. And sometimes, that person may not even be working for you, does not need to work for you because, well, if the person doesn't pay attention, it costs you money. When you send stuff to Amazon, each mistake costs you money, and it costs you a lot of money. And not just, it's not just something that we made up. It's something that we see on a daily basis. Each time you make a mistake, like you thought that UPC is going to scan, and it didn't, and all of a sudden you lost your items. Yeah, you may actually get reimbursement at some point, maybe not, depending on Amazon, but most likely you'll never see that item again, because Amazon scanners or whoever checks stuff in, they're not going to spend the time figuring out why this UPC is not going to scan. They're just going to sideline it and call it a day. So that happens a lot. Then the situations when you need to split the case. You have a case, of 12 items, and it was split 7 and 5 because you didn't know that there was a case of 12 units. Now, with the help of the software, you can do that. You don't need, splitting the case means that you have to find another box that those 5 units will fit in and those 7 units will fit in. Or you can reuse that box, but then you're going to have empty space in the box. So those things, they cost money. They cost money and time and labor. That's what it all comes down to. This piece of software is just there to make it more efficient and to make it more profitable for you to run your Amazon business. It doesn't matter who you are. If you wholesale Amazon model, this is gold. If you private label Amazon business and you have more than, let's say, 15 or 20 SKUs, you're going to find it very helpful too. I promise you will. So, and of course, you have your systems, you have your processes. This is why this app, it doesn't have to be used exclusively. You can use it or you don't have to use it. It doesn't do anything. Yes, the only thing that we do is we pull up your inventory report, so it's easier for you to to add those items and create the shipment plans from this app. Or you don't have to do that. You can just create your shipments in Amazon the way that Amazon wants you to do that. It will be pretty much the same shipments. So the other thing is, I know that there are some people that are messing around with case quantities, putting artificially case quantities to match the numbers of units they send to Amazon. Well, yeah, you can do that. There were people that deleted the that used to be deleting the shipments out of the plans and were shipping just to the shipments that they liked. That didn't work out so well for them. A lot of them got, at least a warning, and I know a few of them that they got suspended because Amazon wants you to follow the rules. And creating an artificial case quantities just so you don't have to split shipments, that's that's not very long strategy. Amazon knows what you're doing. They have your numbers. Every time you send a request to Amazon, they see, well, how many units did you send? 120? Okay, so is it 120 per case? When they're going to get your shipment, they're going to look at it and say, okay, well, it's actually 12 units per case. Why did we think it's 120 units? Oh, because you're trying to not distribute your items. All right, well, right now I know some people get away with that, but I'm pretty sure in the nearest future this is not going to be an option. And so anyway, so this is a major functionality for the Seller Mogul Lite. Other thing that we are doing is this Seller Mogul free, and it's basically a very small app that we wrote. It has a lot of functionality from the other price estimators or cost estimators on Amazon. The only difference, the only difference, the only difference there is actually is um, is it actually calculates. So you have to download it for free from Seller Mogul, and it will use your credentials after 7 days, MWS credentials. But what it's going to do for you is going to calculate the net profitability right there on the fly, which not a lot of people do. And it will do it here. It will do it when you look at the individual page. It'll tell you exactly how much money you're making. So it's just something that we found very very cool, because a lot of the times you just look up the Amazon catalog and you see you need a quick estimate on if you can make money on this item or not. So, and that's basically what it does. It looks up all the fees, and you don't have to click anything. It just does it by default, and it does it when you have when you have different variations. It'll just show you the range of variations. Right, so like this one is going to be 1068. You click, you can click through them, and it'll show you, the net. Again, this is net money that you're going to get from Amazon, if you were to purchase this item. So very, very simple. Again, this is free just because we felt that the market needed this software. We use it ourselves. And it's just something nice to have. Again, there's no paid services for this. So this is the quick thing about the settings. There's very few settings here. Here you can set up your default expiration date. This is your MWS settings. This is your email. So we support Gmail and your other mailers, and this is really your print app. So we covered everything. We covered inventory. Inbound FBA shipments is where you see already created shipments. You can either create them from load from Amazon, or you can do them in a prep FBA shipment. So you can paste them here or go to inventory, select the items that you want, create the shipment plan from here. This is vendors. This is for your email. So when you are to send, discrepancy reports to your supplier, that's basically that. So if there's any problems, this is notification window, and I think this is more than enough for people to think about. So I'm going to publish it now and call it a day. So thank you very much for listening, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.